거룩하신 하나님,
because the premise of their show and the premise of our show has to do with essentially a group of robotic alien beings called the Cylons that in the opening minutes of the original pilot lay waste to an entire human civilization. There's this massive genocide, this apocalyptic attack that catches the humans off guard and wipes out their civilization, and the show is about a small group of survivors that escape on civilian ships, and they are guarded by one warship called the Battlestar Galactica, and essentially they are looking for Earth while they are pursued relentlessly across the cosmos by their enemies. And when I saw that, let's do it. To the religious aspects of the show, the original series had a lot of sort of built-in metaphors and more overt references to religion that essentially I carried some of those forward and then changed them on the fly. In the original series, there's a lot of use is made of things that are sort of borrowed from various cultures. There are a lot of Egyptian references and sort of pyramid references, and there's allusions to the Mayan cultures. There are explicit references to the signs of the zodiac. A lot of the characters were there was a character named Cassiopeia. Apollo was one of the Greek gods, but he was the name of a character. There were a lot of sort of references to either the Greek gods or the Roman gods or the astrological signs. Also, Glenn Larson, who created the original show, who I don't know personally, so some of this is just from what I understand. Glenn Larson was a Mormon, and he infused a lot of the original Galactica's sort of nomenclature with various things that were pulled from Mormon theology. Also, the larger story that he was also sort of telling, this idea of a chosen people that had escaped an apocalypse and were wandering through the desert, and ultimately they were looking for the 13th tribe, is what he called it. And his Galactica universe is predicated on the idea that there were 12 colonies of man that the show was about. And then there was a 13th tribe that went someplace else. And the 12 colonies of man were wiped out in the pilot of Galactica, and then the survivors were working for this mythical 13th colony that supposedly found a place called Earth. So there were a lot of sort of themes in the show that were already redolent of, the Exodus from in the Bible, the tribes of Israel, wandering the desert, a Moses figure. The original series had things in it where there was a ship of lights in one episode that had sort of some angelic type figures, and then there was like a figure known as Count Iblis in the original, who was sort of the embodiment of the devil or Satan or something that they weren't quite explicit about. But a lot of the sort of religious themes that we do in the current version of Galactica at least had their roots in the original. When I was redeveloping the show, I started from the approach of, okay, what are the basics of Galactica dramatically? And so I broke it down into the family of Adama and sort of who those core characters were and what roles they would play in the drama. And then in the larger sort of the mythos of the show, I knew that I wanted to carry a lot of those themes forward as well. It was still going to be about a search for Earth. There were still going to be 12 tribes. Within Galactica, there's a lot of numerology going on. There's a lot of sort of recurrence of numbers, and numbers having, you know, if not overtly mystical meanings, at least implicitly mystical meanings. The number 12 recurs over and over again. The 13th tribe has a certain connotation of something gone terribly wrong in our backstory, and also a message of great hope. So the number 13 has certain meanings layered on top of it. I knew that I wanted to maintain that basic structure. That, okay, we have 12 colonies. There's a 13th out there somewhere, and the show is about the search for the 13th colony. Beyond that, when I was writing the show was launched with a 4-hour miniseries, and when I was writing the miniseries, part of our premise is that the Cylons in our version of the show are not some alien race of mechanical beings. They are essentially sentient robots that were created by the humans like 40 or 50 years ago, that then became sentient, turned on their human masters, and a war happened. And after that first war, the Cylons went away someplace for 40 years, and when they came back, the robots themselves had evolved to a point where they looked like us. They had chartered their own evolution, as it were, and made themselves perfectly human in appearance in every way, to the point that they were indistinguishable from human beings, except they were artificially created.
Earliest memory of my father was him flying away on a big plane. You're wondering when he was coming back. Not coming back this time.
No, he's not. Neither am I.
Where are you going?
I don't know. I just know that I am done here. I've completed my journey, and it feels good. So what about you? What are you gonna do? Today is the first day of the rest of your life, Lee.
Well, I always thought when this was all done, I would, kick back, relax, spend the rest of my days doing the absolute minimum humanly possible.
And now that you're here,
I want to explore. I want to climb the mountains. I want to cross the oceans. I want to... Guys, I can't believe I'm saying this. It sounds so exhausting. I must be crazy.